Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the Dow Jones today? So my cleverness yesterday didn't really play out. I just want to get this level in quickly. Not that one, but that one. Okay. So we have sort of an upward trend line here at the moment, and you can see how we've got one, two. I argue that all of these tails were touching the bottom, and I'm on the monthly chart at the moment, and you can see we did get a grouping here. Okay, and we have had a crossover, which is a bullish crossover, but the bar that is forming here is our second attempt at the high, and it is looking like a monthly double top. Now, obviously we need to wait for the month to finish, and then obviously we need to get below this bottom here of 23,225. Okay, if that happens, then we do have a pretty large double top on the monthly, which is about 3,500 points. Okay, so I think yesterday was pretty interesting. You know, we had some China fears, but we also had some negative results coming through on the earnings, or let's not say negative results, but poor earning results. And I think the feeling is that there's going to be a lot more companies going to be reporting poor earnings. And that is going to put the market into a little bit of a, I won't say a tailspin, but there's going to be a lot of fear coming. Now you can see this month we've already raised 2 months gains, and we're working on third month's gains. Now that is fairly significant on its own. So let's just start with the daily. Now you can see the current daily bar is not looking very pretty. We've had a pullback to the 200 moving average. We bounced off it, and now we're coming back to it. So I would definitely suspect we're going to come and tag this 200 moving average again. The question is whether we're going to get buyers here or not. Okay, now the thing to look out for here is we have this daily head and shoulders here. Okay, there's a shoulder, there's a head, and there's another shoulder. Now that is, well, 2,000 odd points. Okay, currently we have diversions here. Okay, you can see we have a low, and then we have a higher low, and we have low and a lower low. So that is continuation divergence. And it's not complete yet, so don't focus too much on it. I think your problem that you have is you've got the 200 moving average here, and if I just switch across to the S&P, you'll see we have broken through the 200 moving average on the S&P. Okay, so basically the Dow and the S&P tend to follow each other quite extensively. Anyway, so this is not a picture that fills me with much hope for a move to the upside. We have broken through this previous low. We've done that this morning, pretty much. So the only other thing that concerns me is we've got all these oscillators grouping the downside. So I'd expect buyers to step in somewhere to push it up, but where they're going to push it up to is the next question. So I strongly suspect we have more downside coming. We're going to, as we break through these levels, so this is the first level that we've broken through and could have sort of tested. So the next level to bounce off is going to be 2,500, and then I would expect us to get back to 25 to 45 somewhere along the line before moving to the downside again. The futures market at the moment is not looking very pretty at the moment. It's over 0.5% down. So yeah, what can we say about this? suspect we have more downside, but my question is, what kind of downside are we expecting? All these oscillators are grouping to the downside here, and whenever this happens like this, I'm looking for a reason to get long. Okay, and because it's happening on the higher time frames, although the 4-hour is still a way to go, and daily has groups, and we're going to have a second attempt at this group, I'm definitely still looking for a swing trade to the upside. So anyway, it's a patience game at the moment. This head and shoulders is looking pretty interesting, but because it's on the daily, I'd want to see a break, a sort of a break, and then a pullback to come and test the break, and then some price action indicating that we're moving down, which would also bring these oscillators up into more of a neutral or even a overbought territory. Right now we're in oversold territory. Okay, so short story for me today is it looks like there's a lot of downside to come, but there are some significant levels that we are at or close to on most markets. So I would suspect that there's some kind of a bounce coming. So in other words, for me, it's kind of, I'm in two minds of whether we're going to continue trending to the downside or whether this is just sort of a normal consolidation spike to the bottom, pick up a level, and then bounce off that level. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm worried about at the moment. So if you look at this on the 4-hour, you'll see technically we are still sort of in a consolidation zone. So this could really just be coming down to test the lows here and then bounce and come back to the top and then down and then up and down and up. Okay, so the key thing to watch out for is a break of these fractal levels. But in saying that, we've broken this fractal here, which gives us an indication that we're moving to the downside. So I mean, if you're playing this on a lower time frame, you would be short below here with a stop above this fractal. That's a fractal break below the moving averages. Moving averages have crossed over back here as well. So I suspect there's more downside to come. My only concern is the levels that I can see where we're going to are pretty close. So this is the first one. If we do get through this 2500 area, then you can see how significant this level is. Then we have a small little level over there. And then obviously we've got this inside tail here. And then we have that inside tail. And lastly, that inside tail there. Whoops, there's another one. Okay, so you can see I'm picking up each and every one of these inside tails here, and I can keep going all the way down. But those are the levels that we need to watch for. Okay, so yeah, and when we zoom it out to the daily, you'll see what I mean. There's a lot going on in the next 500 points. So price can pick up any one of those levels to bounce off. So that's why I am fairly reluctant to be looking for shorts here, not with the oscillators grouped like they are at the moment and this warning that we had here. So I'm really not interested in this at the moment. I will sit on the sidelines and wait for it. If you are day trading, there will be a couple of scalps to the downside available. But as I said, there's just too many levels to the left to worry about at this stage. And I really don't want to get caught because ultimately this trend is still up. So if you look at it on the higher time frames, we do have an uptrend. And the other thing that we have here is this existing this existing trend line. And you can see how it intersects with these two levels here. So in other words, 2500 and 24,940 are the two areas to watch. Okay, so that's my take on this at the moment. I'm really not going to be looking for anything out of this. And if we just switch across to the ichimoku, you see on the weekly we are still flirting with the Kijun-sen. Everything else is still bullish at the moment on the weekly. On the daily, we are kind of moving to the downside, but this flat Kijun-sen worries me. Whenever I see a flat Kijun-sen like that, I'm very wary that something's about to happen to reverse the direction that the trend is going. Okay. The 4 hour, on the other hand, is pointing to the downside. You can see how we're pointing down, which is fairly bearish. But again, as I pointed out, we've got a lot of levels to the left. Okay. And lastly, on the hour, we are also pointing down. Everything is bearish on the hour. So there's no reason to be looking for longs at this stage. But I would say short with caution. Okay. So let's just get back to this here. Tidy up here. Okay. Right. So the ideal situation would be a bounce, come and test this breakout here, and then you've got an opportunity to get short down to 2,500 area. Okay. But yeah, either way, I'm not looking for shorts when my oscillators are grouped like this and we're at pretty close to levels like this. So I will sit and wait for price action to indicate what we're going to do. Okay, so that's kind of my take for today. Probably doesn't help you much, but yeah, I think I'd rather just earn interest on my money than lose it. So that's what I'll be doing today, sitting on my hands and watching the games unfold. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Cheers for now.